Okay, Mikel, just your thoughts after that one.
Well, extremely disappointing, obviously. It's a big punch on the face, and it's about how we react now.
What didn't quite work for you out there? Was it difficult to find a flow, and was that something that your team did, or did Bournemouth prevent it?
Well, I think credit to them for what they've done. It's a team that obviously hasn't lost for 11 games for a reason, because they do a lot of things right. And when we had, especially in the first half, a lot of opportunities, when we break the press, we regain the ball to run, to have open spaces, we were far from efficient. And the first chance, I think, or the first opportunity that I have to attack the box is a deflection. We have a really bad defending action, and it costs us the goal. And that's obviously emotionally something that we have to deal with. We try to recover from there, try to push them, score the goal from the penalty in the second half. You expect a different game, but yeah, we did a lot of strange things today, I would say.
Is that a surprise to you? Like you just said, a couple of strange things, and you weren't as efficient. Does that come as a surprise to you from what you see?
We've been very consistent. It can happen. This is football. Sometimes you have to give credit to the opposition as well for what they do, or the way they capitalize. I don't know how many shots they had, but the way they capitalize in our actions, our errors, and we were far from the level today.
How much is this hurting the boys in the dressing room right now?
A lot, and it has to hurt, and you have to take it on the chin, and there is no grey areas now. You stand up and go for the fight, or you are out, and that's it. That's what this level is going to require now.
And does it feel like this is the biggest week of your managerial career, and for these boys playing as well, with what's at stake?
It's a big week. It's a lot of at stake. We're still in a really good position in both competitions, but we need to do better, but certain.
Mikel, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Becky.
Yeah, a huge week ahead for Arsenal, with the second leg of that Champions League quarter-final, which you can see on TNT Sports and HBO Max, and then it's Manchester City next weekend as well. It's all about how they react, he said. But Martin, why aren't we seeing the learnings from the previous seasons, does it feel, when Arsenal came so close?
Well, I think we are. I think the before today, with the success rate, was it 75%? You know, your top of goals scored, you the fewest goals. It's like you're getting to that last furlong, and then there's an issue. So it's like now the manager's quite right. There wasn't the efficiency. We didn't see Havertz when it was finally the ball got to him, making those connections. You know, Eze coming on didn't look like he was quite at the level, or cooked like he was in the past. You know, he's taking chances with certain players, trying to get them back in. Of course, Ødegaard not even available. But you don't panic now. You find out about the people around you in that dressing room.
But we're not seeing again them not dealing with the pressure.
Yeah, but this is what you've got to do now. There's real backs to the wall now. There's no breathing space now. Man City are going to be climbing all over you. And then you're going to see the people in the dressing room. Let's see. You learn a lot from people when you don't win games, okay? And they've had a difficult period, and you've got to climb out of it. No one's going to help you to do that. So the manager looks to look from within. But they can do better tactically. They can all do better in the duels. Everybody needs to look at themselves. That's what you do. But you have to stick together to find a way. Now, you're back on Blob now for Wednesday, really important game in the Champions League, and then Man City, let's get it on. But you do the next job first. You can't recover that game now. You congratulate your opponent, but you have to be better going forward. And the manager continually says, that hurt. Well, that didn't quite happen today. But you make sure next time it does.
What do you think when you watch Arsenal play at the moment, Owen? Do you feel like they should be more aesthetically pleasing with the players they have?
No, I don't care about aesthetics. It's about trophies. You want to win a Premier League.
But do you feel like the handbrake is on too much, and they're playing within themselves a bit?
I'm not sure it is. Look, Linz, they got the best home form, best away form, highest scores, fewest goals conceded, most clean sheets, best on set piece. They're the best at everything, Linz. So, but today they didn't have their best, but Bournemouth did. You got to ask yourself the question: why do you not have your best when you need it in such a decisive game? Up to this point, they've been almost flawless. Only 3 losses in the Premier League all season. But the best teams, the biggest teams, have it when they need it in a crucial moment. They didn't have it today. And they got to figure it out before the end of the season. They got City away, go there and put in a performance and win. Today they didn't have it, and everybody could feel it. And that's probably the biggest worry. Mikel just nailed it there. They're under pressure, not under pressure, but they got to turn this around. They control their own destiny, Linz. You got the opportunity to go win a Premier League and a Champions League. Just go grab it. You're 6 weeks away from one of the best seasons in the club's history, this brilliant football club. Go and create it. Don't wait for it. Nobody, like Martin said, nobody's going to give it to you.
So is that down to mentality, do you think? Do they have the mentality right now of champions?
Of course they do. They have the mentality.
But they've just lost at home to Bournemouth when the pressure was
But you have to
on.
prove it, don't you? You have to prove you're a leader.
You just got to take the final step.
Yeah. Who's that person in the dressing room? You know, we saw Declan Rice today. Actually, I thought Skelly did really well today.
He did.
Coming in late. One or two players, the two central defenders, can't really be criticised. You know?
Gabriel played great, didn't he?
Yeah, so it's like, to be honest, it's always a collective. It's never about, you know, just one person made a mistake or whatever. So, but the manager knows that. He's got to keep everyone together. You can't just fall off a cliff here. You need to, you know, readjust, come back fighting. You want to come back swinging, to be honest. If you're really angry, you know, I didn't see a lack of discipline occasionally. In our day, maybe someone goes over the top. You know, this business of going into midfield, keep coming back. If I passed it to Patrick Vieira, it never came back. So, like, you know, make the progression through the team. Give it to your midfield players, pass the ball through the team. Okay, your opponent stopped that today, but that can't happen in midweek.
So how does Mikel Arteta get more out of them in the attacking areas, do you think?
Well, he keeps believing in the group. You know, as I say, there wasn't enough energy. He made 3 changes, didn't he? Martinelli came off.
Do you know what, Martin? I quite liked those at that time.
I thought it was a great move.
Yeah.
It says something to the players.
Yeah.
If you're not performing, you know, for whatever reason, we make those changes. Of course, you need Saka back, Ødegaard back. But it's there for them. You can't feel sorry for yourself. You know, Lindsay, you might feel that, you know, ask me these questions, you know, are they feeling sorry for themselves? Well, they don't win anything if you're feeling sorry for yourself. You need a reaction. And I'm pretty certain there will be in midweek.
What do you think would have gone on in the dressing room between the players after that, Martin?
Well, it was a long time coming out, so there have been some harsh words, but you need to tell the players what you need, what you want. And that feeling, and it's like, you know, it was never easy for anybody to win, to be a champion, to win trophies. You know there's going to be bumps on the road. It's how you recover from the disappointments. Who is in that dressing room that we can look to now to really take the team forward? But, you know, they've got to switch on quickly. It's still there for them. It's still in their own destiny. But Man City will respond now. You can see that they'll, you know, tomorrow now they'll be fired up. They've still got to go to Chelsea. Actually, Bournemouth have still got to play Man City. And Man City have got to go to Bournemouth. So it's not over, but you need to wake up fast.
Are those previous 3 seasons, though, a huge factor, do you think, Owen? That sort of fear of being the bridesmaids again, the perennial runners-up?
It will be there. But I'm sure they will try not to think of it because they've been so different this season. They've been so much better. They've been so much more consistent. They've scored more goals. So I think it did feel different. Today felt like, a little window into the past, and they got to block that out. Can't happen again. They got 6 games left in the Premier League. You can't see that again. And again, I think in that dressing room, you'll have Declan, you have Gabriel talking, but they need Ødegaard. They need Saka in terms of creativity in this team. They've been so good up to this point, but they need to finish it off. You know, to get to this point and then to give it away would be a shame. They put in too much good work to get here.
Do you think they will still?
They put themselves on. I thought they had to win that today, you know, and then they can go the Etihad and get a draw. One thing I would say is you can lose to Bournemouth. They're a good side, but it needs to be more physical. It needs, it just needs to be. There needs to be more to it. You can't lose. I don't think like that. They just with 6 games to go, you got to go all out. And if you lose, you lose. But today, I don't think they had their best, and that's the most disappointing part, I think, if you're an Arsenal fan.
You can just see and feel the disappointment in Mikel Arteta, and understandably so. We saw him pre-match and he looked a little bit more relaxed. Now he knows how significant this result is, Aaron.
Yeah, he just said there, it feels like a punch to the face. You can see the frustration on him. He said they did a few strange things. Yeah, it wasn't a performance that we've been used to with Arsenal in terms of, just the intensity, wanting to try and, take the game by the scruff and show what they're all about. They're in a fantastic position. And, they've got so much to look forward to with being top of the league, quarterfinals, Champions League. They've got all this. So, yeah, something just wasn't quite right today. And, yeah, you can say his nerves and things like that, but these are the positions that you want to be in. You want to be competing against the top, playing for these major trophies. So, yeah, it feels like a real big opportunity missed.
When you get a look at those fixtures there, that's only their second loss at the Emirates all season. All of a sudden, you start thinking, could Newcastle come there and hurt them? I think one good thing for Arsenal, they'll all probably turn into Crystal Palace fans over the next few weeks, is that 3 or 4 days, I think actually 3 days after that last game of the fixture, Crystal Palace away, which is a difficult place to visit, Crystal Palace could be in a European competition final. So they'll be praying that they maybe have their eyes taken off that fixture, and it would make that finish to the season with Burnley and Crystal Palace a little bit easier, possibly.
And they could have even more say in this title race as well, because Manchester City still have to play them.
They do, Lindsay. They do. And
I'm just trying to make you feel better.
This pressure is just not exclusive for Arsenal. You know, I mean, Rory McIlroy suddenly playing incredible golf right now, because obviously that pressure's been taken off his shoulders, and the Arsenal players are going through that right now. They've got to find a way. As I say, tactically, they have to find a way, and psychologically, does it change now in some way? Does City suddenly feel that they're the favourites, as that's where it is? So whatever you do now, you have to bounce back and stick together as a group.
And you spoke to him there about the way his team pressed today as well. And we've already touched on Arsenal just not having the answers to that today, Owen, and just how many times that ball went back to David Raya today. How frustrating was that to watch in that situation?
Do you know what? It's a current trend, a modern trend, and I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of it. Do you know, the ball goes back to the goalkeeper all the time, and for a team that presses as good as Bournemouth, all you're doing is inviting them pressure. David Raya received 38 back passes today. 38.
It's playing into their hands.
And this is one of the best pressing teams in the country, so that allows them to squeeze up. I mean, that is quite a remarkable start. David Raya played the second most passes in this Arsenal team today. Only Declan Rice played one more. So why would you... Look, and he's brilliant with his feet, by the way. But why would you encourage that? And then the crowd gets a little bit nervous. And then it was really interesting what he said there, Martin, about it was a bit of a cat and mouse, and they were trying to force him.
Yeah.
But David Raya in the second half played a couple passes which, even though he's brilliant with his feet, was high risk. And I think I think the manager, Iraola, knew that. And again, I think just get the ball forward quicker, get it into the channel, win duels, and then win second balls, and then you get up the pitch a bit quicker.
The issue for Arsenal is that they fix the play. That's what you're trying to do at any point. There's restarts, goal kicks. You fix the play, and the picture never changed. Arsenal then couldn't develop the play into their midfield players. Even when Downman come on, we're all screaming, give Downman the ball, but they didn't have enough good control of the ball in the midfield, and that is all down to Bournemouth. And of course, Arsenal then not mixing up their game enough.
Yeah.
What hasn't been a great run of performances. I expect them to take this game and really move it on to Bournemouth, but they didn't. They were lacklustre second half, and then we see this record in April. Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola, and you can see firmly who's got the upper hand in this month.
Look at the drop-off. It's really interesting to see that, actually, in numbers, Aaron. What do you make of that?
Yeah,
it doesn't have a very good record in April, essentially.
No, of course not. That doesn't make too good of a reading, but I think that correlates to, City been there and done it before.
Yeah.
And their experience, stages of the season to get the job done. Arsenal are still awaiting, for that time to come, but have been so close over the last few years, but they still need to take that step, and it takes some doing. And City have been there and done it for many years now. So for them to, for us to see them stats there is no surprise, really.
Well, no league title in 22 years, and finishing second 3 years in a row. That's got to add to the pressure, surely.
Yeah, I think whether you want to admit it or not, probably in the squad psyche, it'll be in the back of their minds. They'll be trying to put it as far back as possible and try and forget about it. But ultimately, it's what's happened. It's the fact of the situation. On the other hand, when you look at Manchester City, we've waited for a long time for Manchester City to click into gear. We've expected it since the turn of the year that we've seen on so many occasions. So far, other than the Carabao Cup final, that hasn't happened. But this is a big opportunity for Pep Guardiola's men to establish themselves in this Premier League season. And I suppose complete a slight transition at the Etihad. We've seen a lot of change. We expect to see more this summer. But this is a big chance now, going to Stamford Bridge tomorrow.
Have the two cup defeats affected Arsenal, do you think? Is that on their minds, or have they put that behind them?
Yeah, I think in general, Arsenal have been a bit... Yeah, they haven't really, produced enough at the moment to get, to win games. I don't think there was too many, clear-cut opportunities there again today. There was a few offset pieces and things which... Yeah, they have had some success from, but over the course of the 90 minutes, can you say they did enough really to win that game today? I'm not too sure, but they're going to have to start getting something going, because at the moment, it seems like, they don't give too many opportunities away, and they're quite solid, defensively. But they still need to go and win games, and that's been part of Arsenal's sort of DNA throughout the years, is that, you know, they'll always create chances and create opportunities to score goals. It seems that they've come away from that a little bit to focus on, you know, their structure behind the ball and really being a strong, you know, and a difficult team to break down.
Yeah, I mean, they had their chances today, though, didn't they? But they just didn't make the most of them. Yeah.
They had half chances, I would say. Here we see this is the difficult header coming away from goal, trying to redirect it back in the space that you went. What worries me for Arsenal is that I understand that you want to be calm in the situation when you're behind and you want to control the game. But also there's maybe a lack of urgency and tempo in their play at times. Sometimes you have just got to put it in the box and start asking questions. And we see there, Gyökeres a little bit wasteful. I mean, again, though, it's not good play by Arsenal. It's a bit of fortune how that ball's come out. It's bad goalkeeping, in all honesty. And we see a little bit of desperation throwing your centre-half up. Ball just gets away from it. It tries to tackle it into the goal. But ultimately, when you zoom out and you look at how much quality that Mikel Arteta's got in his ranks, you would expect them to be creating better opportunities than what we've just witnessed there.
Yeah, 3 shots on target in the game, second fewest in a home game this season for Arsenal. And that kind of sums up the story, doesn't it, of the match. Also, we've talked a lot about Arsenal's substitutes and how Arteta's got it really right and they've come on and made an impact. Didn't quite happen today, though, did it? Why do you think that was?
No, I don't know. I think, like in the past, they have had a really good impact and the stats suggest that. I just felt like it was quite a flat performance in general. Like I said, there was no intensity really there, and that lack of urgency to, you know, somebody to just grab the game by the scruff and to drive the team forward, to create an opportunity, to be exciting. I think, there's a lot of things probably going through the players' minds and things like that at the moment where they are in the league. And maybe that had an effect on them. And, you know, you could feel it, you could hear with the crowd. There's a bit of anxiousness there, and you know, it's as if they can't wait for it to happen, you know, or they can't, you know, want it to happen as quickly as possible. But these things build up in a game, and sometimes then, you know, you sort of, I don't know, go sort of back within your comfort zone instead of really trying to play a ball forward or trying to, you know, make an impact on a game. Maybe you might go a little bit safer. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
It's a fear of losing, isn't it, a little bit?
When you look at Arsenal's squad, the game changing, the people that you would expect to do that, Eze didn't quite do it today. Odegaard injured, Saka injured, Rice tried a few long-range opportunities. He's like kind of a leader that you expect to drive you on, but just never really found any fluidity in the game, never really controlled the game, which you would expect him to do at home at the Emirates, especially at this stage of the season against the Bournemouth side that you know are going to sit in and counter-attack you. Just a little bit of a lack of identity at times from Arsenal. And when he did get his opportunity, he saw that gap and he sped into it. And when you needed composure in front of goal, because they didn't get many opportunities in the second half, even though they played well throughout the game, they didn't really carve too many good opportunities out. But in that case there, he kept his head, kept a cool head and played it into the back of the net. Really good finish by the young man.
So whilst we're praising Bournemouth, I guess the key question here is how damaging is this result for Arsenal in the title race, in your opinion, Aaron?
I think obviously we're all disappointed. All the fans will be extremely disappointed, players, staff, everyone. But we have to, you know, take a step back from that and still remain positive. We're still in our hands. I mean, we're going to have to do it a difficult way in going to City and putting up a performance there and getting a result. But I think, you know, maybe this is what we need. We need a bit of a reality check here in the last few weeks to be able to really test ourselves now next week and then go from there. Like Glenn said, though, City have to go to Chelsea tomorrow and get a result there. So
all Arsenal fans become Chelsea fans just for a day, eh?
In a roundabout way.
Yeah, they do, don't they? Well, look, the goal was great. We said it was. But in the build-up to it, we saw some really nervy moments from Arsenal, Glenn.
Yeah, a bit unlike them, in all honesty. Raya just sloppy in possession. I would say they're playing the ball out to a Bournemouth man. He gets the ball back. Just a flick of the right boot. Unlike them again, not in control of the game like we've seen on so many occasions. Here waiting right to the last moment, and listen, in the end it's a good piece of play, but a little bit nervy and just not what we're used to from Arsenal, and this eventually leads to the goal. It's a bit of a sloppy clearance. Bournemouth win a couple of second balls, and then this is actually a bad pass. into the centre forward, but he does just enough to take the speed off the ball, which allows Alex Scott to burst through. We see there just a little bit of a wayward pass forward, probably a lack of a philosophy in some crazy way. We just see Zubimendi looking the wrong way, gets his body shape, watches the ball instead of the man that he's meant to be marking. Ben White, you could say, could drop in a little bit quick and be more aware of the situation, but that gap between them, they've been punished in between that right back and that centre back already in this game, bear in mind. And then when this ball is just laid into his path, once he steps onto it, opens that right foot up and finishes with aplomb. Really, really good finishes. Gives the goalkeeper the eyes.
Wow. That's a good view of it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, really good view.
Do you think it meant more to him because he's a Spurs fan as well? He's well documented, by the way, and I don't really know what that means either. But
to be honest, Tim, I think that was probably the last thing in his mind is he wheeled away in front of the away fans. I think he'll have just been absolutely delighted that he's managed to get his team in front after such a long run of draws. Funnily enough, they'd have probably taken a draw today at the Emirates, but to get that off their back and start turning it into winning ways and obviously jump up. They're only 3 points off Chelsea now, so they're well in that European conversation. I think that's what they've been thinking about, not Spurs.
Not Spurs, all right, fine. OK, what about the opening goal? Because we were talking about Junior Krupi, weren't we, and just how much of a sensation he is. He's only 19 years old, and he put Bournemouth ahead.
Yeah, again, it was a lovely bit of play, yeah. Chris, the ball through there was really nice. And then, yeah, got a bit fortunate with that, but, you ask your wingers always to attack the far post and get in because, you'll score 5 or 6 goals there a season if you attack that far post. It'll be amazed how many balls actually end up there. So he gets his rewards for getting in front of his man there. Yeah, it was, poor defending from Arsenal if you really break it down, but, full credit to him in attacking that far stick.
What a debut season he is having in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, we lauded him for getting 10. I mean, I'm sure he'll have eyes on that list that we showed earlier of 12 being the top. I think it was Robbie Fowler on top of it and Robbie Keane on top of it as teenage David, and he'll fully fancy his chances to be up there with them, if not surpass them this season.
That wasn't an easy finish either, was it? No, easy for you, Glenn.
Well, I don't. In the Premier League, I think he scored much better goals than that. So for a man of his calibre, that was relatively easy.
OK, fine. OK, well, let's talk about the equaliser. The penalty was scored, but let's look at the incident first. Did we think this was a handball? Did you call it straight away?
Yeah, I mean, by the letter of law, yeah, it's a handball. Yeah, is the ball going to go flying over the bar? Probably. And, he's a bit unfortunate because he's turning away and, your arms do go out slightly as you're turning away. But, at the end of the day, it is a penalty, I think.
Rice doing a good job of explaining what he's done.
Don't think it was quite that high, was he? But he was right. His arm was
slightly exaggerated.
His arm was above. You can understand Bournemouth arguing it. In the letter of the law, it is a penalty. But from this point here, and after this penalty, in the manner that he takes this penalty, I fully expect Arsenal to click into gear. They were lacklustre in the first half. I expected them to use that momentum in front of their fans after
today from Arsenal, or did you feel like that performance was coming?
No, I was surprised that they didn't find a solution. The way that Bournemouth tactically pressed Arsenal really high from the front. Goalkeeper obviously relied on the goalkeeper an awful lot, and that there just was the duels really. I mean, I was looking at their fullbacks. Truefair was just like a man possessed, and I wasn't seeing the same reaction from the Arsenal players.
Why not?
With absolutely no idea in terms of, I mean, obviously Bournemouth, kind of Arsenal played into their trap and then didn't find a solution. The substitutions came very early from the manager. I thought that was a real intention to change the game, but then they didn't find, as they didn't seem his usual self, couldn't get Max Dalman on the ball. So as I say, it's one of those days where it just hasn't worked, but you can't, after that body of work now, you can't throw it all away. They'll be in that dressing room, there'll be some big questions, there'll be an examination of what happened today. Of course, it's not all about the opponent, but I thought Bournemouth were magnificent in the way that they played. They had that pace at the top of the team. And in the end, Arsenal have opened the Championship, the Premier League, right up now for Man City to be licking their lips.
But is the reason the alarm bells are ringing so loudly here that it's not just today? It's 3 games in the last 4, Owen, that Arsenal have been outplayed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think you're alluding to the cup final against City, who were brilliant. Southampton were absolutely fabulous in the FA Cup, deserved to win the game. They obviously beat Sporting, even though David Raya had a terrific game. And today they're outplayed. And you're right. I think that's probably the worrying trend, that you've been outplayed in all of those games. But you'd have to take nothing away from Bournemouth. They were fabulous today. You know, they had such energy. They were good on the ball. They had a game plan, the way to play out. If Arsenal pressed them, they went long. Their pressing themselves was spectacular, and they were clinical when they got in front of goal. I think the worry for Mikel will be that, you know, Mark made a great point. They didn't find a solution to that press, and I think there was a little bit of pressure, a little bit of stress in the crowd. You could feel it, Fletch and
Did you
Lucy.
see that transmitting to the players, to the manager?
Do you know what, Linz? It's normal. If you're going to be in a title race, and I was fortunate enough to be in a few, you know, there is pressure. But you know what? Pressure is a privilege. You've earned the right to be in this position, to go for a title race, to win a Premier League and a Champions League. I just thought maybe they were tired. They were a little bit too passive. Mark made a good point about the duels. You know, they were so aggressive in Bournemouth and getting after people. And I just thought the pressure and the press from Bournemouth put so much pressure on Arsenal, and they didn't cope.
And that's where the winning goal came from for Bournemouth. It came from it came from the Bournemouth press, which as Owen has already mentioned. But it was brilliant from the very first whistle today, Martin.
Yes, but like it's little bits of detail, isn't it? Where you know, I mean, the press every time Arsenal got the ball, and the goalkeeper, obviously, you know, we know how adapted he is, but he's playing it out, never going really long. And they just kept picking Arsenal off, and this is a fantastic move, really, and the way that he floats through midfield. I think this one here, look, when the ball's in the air there, you just wonder when it comes in there to Lewis Skelly, look, should he really try to win that? He doesn't get there. The centre half suddenly out of the middle, then there's a big opening, and runs off the back of Supermendy. But the composure that he shows, let's give him some credit here. Gets in front of goal. He was one of the world's best goalkeepers we're talking about before the game, and that's a wonderful finish from him there.
He played fabulous, Alex Scott. So did Christie in the heart of that midfield. We said before the game they got a presence here and they got speed at the top of the pitch. One thing I would say is on that goal, you know, we spoke about second balls and duels. They lost 3 second balls in one clip. Do you know what I mean? So and I always speak about second ball because I think they decide games. Look at this. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And that allows you, and then you play. Then you got courage. Then you get runners. Brilliant run from Alex Scott. Little flick, okay? What a finish that is, by the way. And I just thought, if you compress like that, force mistakes, and then you win second balls, and then it builds confidence and it creates stress for the other team. But I just thought, as the game plan for Bournemouth was executed spectacularly well.
They pressed incredibly well, with real purpose. They passed the ball when necessary. They enjoyed the ball. And in the end,
you know
Arsenal,
they're going to do that, Bournemouth, that you know to expect that from them. So why was there not that adaptation there?
Well, that's the next step. That's where the time now needs to be spent on the training ground, because everybody is to blame if you're going to lose. You could say the players need to be more aroused than they were. They weren't really as physical in the duels. You could also say that tactically, the Arsenal played into Bournemouth's hands.
Complained over the years.
Yeah.
He's in his demeanour on the side, he was so chilled. The game plan in terms of with the ball, without the ball, so impressive. Nobody's going to want to play these guys, by the way.
No, but you know, he's so calm, isn't he? But if you think, like, if a team was ever a reflection of somebody, you see them in possession, that's his personality off the pitch. But when the players get into the tackle, they're so competitive. And I think under the surface, we were very close to him on the sideline. He was arguing every decision. He's really competitive. He wants to win something, you know, whether he goes back to Spain. I think he's really in demand. And the way he's developed all of these players, suddenly everybody wants to buy his players. It reflects really well on him and as a club.